I'm Erin. This is Penny the Pelvis, my lovely model that I use for teaching and training and educating women. This is a female pelvis, and just some of the basics about the pelvis that are really important to keep in mind, and the reason it affects so many women that have babies and also many who do not. Your pelvic floor muscles are the red structure here, the red that you see, and they are like a sling, a very important special sling that helps support our essential organs. And what's cool about this model is that the parts come out. So we have, and they're all very, you can see, very connected, how closely they sit together. So it helps us understand that when we have a pregnancy and when we deliver a baby, why these organs are affected so much, because as you'll see in a moment with these different parts, they sit so closely together. We have the bladder and the uterus and the rectum right behind that. And so when the uterus grows, it puts pressure on the other organs, and everything's a little bit stretchier during that time and has to make room for the growing baby. So we have the rectum here, and we have the uterus, and we have the bladder, and they fit very closely right inside this pelvic bowl. And so this pelvic bowl is truly essential for our overall health and our long-term health, because we need these organs to function well in order to have a comfortable, happy life where we can move well. So this sling, all the red that you see, this muscular structure helps support these essential organs. And so when people reference the pelvic floor, and certainly men have pelvic floors also, the model looks different because you can see we have the anus here and the vaginal opening here, and also you have your urethra here, so that's where your urine comes out. In order for all of this to work really well, these muscles have to be strong to support the essential organs. And so that is a little bit of the basics on why I study this and why I've learned about it. It certainly affects every person that I know in some way, whether you realize it or you don't. And having strong pelvic floor muscles is also connected to how you use your trunk. And your core, when I talk about the core, when I teach about the core, I'm not just talking about abs. Abs are certainly important, but I'm talking about back muscles, and I'm also talking about the diaphragm, which is your breathing muscle, and that sits just at the base of your ribs. And your diaphragm works very closely with your pelvic floor. One pretty neat thing about that is that when you take a deep breath in and fill your belly and practice really great diaphragmatic breathing, when you're breathing in, your pelvic floor is relaxing. And then when you exhale and you let all that air out of your belly, you are going to have like a gentle closing of your openings. So it doesn't have to be a super strong, fierce Kegel, if you will. More about that in a different section of these health tips. But your diaphragm and your pelvic floor work together. And so on the inhale, your belly fills and your pelvic floor relaxes. And as you exhale, there's a gentle lifting of the pelvic floor muscles. And so sometimes after we have a baby or multiple babies, or an abdominal surgery or some other trauma, sometimes we have to remind our body when we need to contract the pelvic floor and when we need to relax it. And there can be issues with trying to overly contract it. And I'll talk about that in another series where we'll talk about why Kegels are not the answer to pelvic floor problems for everybody. So those are my health tips. What is the pelvic floor for a woman and why we should know about it and why it matters to our overall health. Thanks for watching.